In this video, we're going to look at setting up the validation for Phoenix Circus. We're going to set up the validation on fields as indicated below. A record will not save without the trainee's last name being present. That's a presence check. A record will not save if the trainee's first name is not in the correct format, and that should be the first character uppercase followed by a number of characters, and I suggest they should be in lowercase. A record will not save if the result is invalid, and a record will not save if the level for a module is invalid. Now that save for the result is going to be a value lookup, but the save for the module will be a table lookup. And then we've also got a record will not save if a trainee number taking a module is invalid, and that will be a table lookup also. So we've now got access open. I've opened up the table TBL trainee because that's where the last name is going to be, going into design view. And we want the trainee's last name, so we click on that one. And this one, we've got to make sure it's present. And the best way to do that, let's just pull this up a bit so we can see, is we're going to use the validation rule, and we're going to use is not null. And always put in some validation text. This is the message that's given to the user, is to put something in that's invalid. Something like last name must be present. The next validation will make sure that a record will not save if the trainee's first name is not in the correct format. The first character should be uppercase, followed by a number of characters. We're going to use the input mask for this, and this is a format check. So we're on the first name field, we'll come down to input mask, and we're going to use the greater than sign, which forces anything keyed in the keyboard into uppercase. Then the letter L, that signifies that the user must enter a character. Then a lowercase sign, which forces anything that comes after that into lowercase. And then I'm going to use 9 question marks, and that means the user can enter up to 9 characters. That's the validation done for the first name. The next validation will make sure that a record will not save if the result is invalid, and this is a value lookup. So if we go to our table, TBL trainee module, go to design view, and click on the result. And if we select the down arrow and lookup wizard, values that I want, and next, and here we can key in the values that are going into the list. Unclassified, pass, merit, and distinction. Click on next. Always limit to list. That means the user won't be able to add any new results to the list, and finish. The next validation is a record will not save if the level for a module is invalid, and this is a table lookup. So if we just go to the module table and go to the level field and go into the lookup tab, this we've already set up, although it's part of the validation. We set this up when we set the relationships up. Because we set this up as a foreign key and we use the lookup wizard, then it's already set up for us. We know it's going to be a combo box. The row source is a table, and it will select level from TBL level. If you try and key something in that's not in the level table, it will signify that's an error. And the last validation, a record will not save if a trainee taking a module is invalid. So we just go to the trainee module table and click on trainee number, and again go to the lookup tab. This has already been set up when we set up the relationships because we use the lookup wizard. It's combo box, the row source is a table, and the row source is we're going to select trainee number from TBL trainee. So again, if we try and key something in that isn't in that trainee table, then it will signify an error. So we've already dealt with that validation. Now we've got all the validation set up, the next thing to do is to key in the data. And you need to make sure when you start keying in the data that you don't put in any duplicate data. So for example, we only have one trainee record for Benjamin Boateng, not 3 or 4 depending on how many modules he's taken. And similar to when you are setting up the tables, you need to key the data in the same order. That means start with the tables with no foreign keys. That's level and trainee. Next do the table with one foreign key, so in this case that will be module. And then finally do the last table, which will be trainee module. And of course the reason is you need to have those primary keys in before you can use them as foreign keys in another table. In the next video we'll start looking at creating queries.